Of all the insects that inhabit the earth, buzzing around doing what they do best are the most industrious workers of all, bees. They are hidden workers that keep our world functioning. These little powerhouses, estimated as having evolved over 1 million years ago, are non-invasive insects that go about their business and are responsible for so many of the things that we enjoy. Worldwide, there are approximately 20,000 species of bees, Australia alone possessing over 2,000 native species. Bees perform a diverse role within various habitats, and what has made them so remarkable has been their ability to adapt and specialise. They are one of our most important pollinators, responsible for pollinating around 65% of our flowering plants and 80% of the world's agricultural crops. Numerous studies caution that if we were to lose our bees, we would have to come up with other systems of pollinations, with scientists asserting that we wouldn't be quick enough, as efficient, the crops most likely be tasteless. They are a species that are crucial to our agriculture industry, to our environment, as well as to our economic growth. Bees are a social species that live in large colonies consisting of a queen bee along with male and female workers. These colonies range in size from 20,000 to 80,000 individuals depending on the season. Each individual within a colony is required to perform specific duties, as bee colonies depend on diversity of their population for survival. Worker bees forage for food, returning with protein-rich pollen to feed offspring. They also tend to the queen, feed larvae, ventilate the hive, store honey, build combs and undertake tasks in order to ensure the survival of the colony. With their lifespan consisting of 6 weeks on average, worker bees have a relatively short period of time to ensure the preservation of the hive. The mechanism of pollination is when parts from a male flower called anthers are transferred to the female part of a flower called stigma. Once pollen lands on the stigma, it forms a tube through which the male gametes travel to reach the ovary. There, the male-female gametes fuse, and after this, the fruit, nut or seed of the plant begins to develop. Some bees pollinate many plants, others forge a relationship with one type of plant only. Pollen can be transferred by different methods, including wind, gravity, water, birds, bats, or other insects. The most important pollinators, however, are bees. This is due to their behavioural habit of visiting flowers and also their body, which is covered in hair, making it easy for pollen particles to be picked up and moved between flowers. Bees, although unknowingly pollinating flowers, are rewarded for their efforts due to most flowers provide an abundance of nectar, which is a sugar liquid that bees use as a food source. Due to their widespread diversity, wild bees are at times not reliable for the pollination of commercial crops. Some growers rear and manage communities of non-honey producing bees purely for the purpose of ensuring successful crops. With the combination of wild and managed bee colonies, around 20 to 30,000 tonnes of highly desired honey is produced and processed by the Australian bee industry per year. Approximately 4,360 tonnes of honey is packaged and exported annually for bulk and retail shipments, one of the most prevalent being China. These figures make Australia one of the top 10 honey-producing countries worldwide. $88 million was valued by the Australian Bureau of Agriculture and Research Economics and Science as the gross rate of production in the year 2012 to 13, with an increasing forecast for the future. With this increase in economic revenue, new scientific advances have been researched and implemented in order to restrict and decrease the risk of declining bee numbers. One such example includes a scientific technology called microsensors, a tag in which is attached to an individual bee which emits radio frequencies. These tags are then read from a sensor which is placed inside the hive, recording when a bee leaves and returns. This ultimately helps scientists create an extensive picture on bee flights, patterns and activities. Additional research has also provided an insight on how a chemical can differentiate between worker bees and the queen. A chemical named cytochemical fucamic acid may lead female larvae genes to become regulated when in the developmental stages. This chemical can also lead to the suppression of ovaries, organ size and different mechanisms. P-cumaric acid is one of the main compounds found in grain crop pollens. This is then collected by the worker bees and taken back to the hive. The more this chemical is collected, the further this has an effect on the surrounding colony, thus revealing the genetic makeup of a colony which has been affected by various chemicals found in human crops. Unfortunately, there is an immense problem facing the bee population worldwide, whilst in Australia bee numbers are stable. Scientists are calling it the colony collapse disorder, or CCD, and according to research it was initially observed within the USA and Europe in 2006. The symptoms of this disorder still remain obvious. The numerous bee colonies that were studied had minimal to no worker bees in their brood. The hives were empty, or there was evidence of a massive kill-off at the hive entrance. The reasons for CCD are not straightforward. The top suspects include climate change, loss of habitat, pests, diseases, bacteria, electromagnetic fields, introduced species, herbicides and pesticides, as well as a combination of all these indicators. A Harvard University study has confirmed that pesticides, particularly in combination with other chemicals, are playing a significant role in destroying bee populations, in particular neonicotinoid pesticides. It has been recognised that pesticides impacts on bees' ability to navigate, impairs their memory, their cognition, as well as behaviour and motor skills. Undeniably, the growing body of evidence implicating the use of pesticides with CCD has led to their ban in Europe and the highly regulated use within Canada. In May 2015, the White House released a national strategy seeking the support of federal agencies in restoring 7 million acres of land, especially for bees. In some parts of the world, however, it appears too late. In particular, Southeast China, which has caused Chinese farmers to pollinate their pear and apple farms by hand. For more than a decade, the Environmental Protection Agency within the USA has been under fire from environmentalists, beekeepers and associated groups with respect to the increase of chemical usage in the commercial agriculture industry. Latest figures from the EPA confirm that from 2007 there are over 1 billion tonnes of pesticides used within their country every year. This is 22% of the estimated 5.2 billion pounds of pesticides used worldwide. Of this, 80% of pesticide use within the US is within the agriculture industry, with over 350,000 current and historic pesticides products registered. The major concern faced with today's agriculture industry is that both pesticides and bees are necessary. The agriculture industry relies on pesticides for superior crop yields and pest management, whilst at the same time bees are needed to pollinate crops. So what role can we play as individuals ensuring the survival of this little insect? Well, we can adopt a bee or plant bee-friendly gardens, in particular plants, shrubs, flowers that bees like. Don't mow over dandelions, live and let live. Don't use chemicals or pesticides in your garden or on your lawn. And sign petitions banning same. Use natural products instead. Buy local raw honey, supporting local beekeepers. Build bee hotels and learn how to become a beekeeper. Take your children to local beekeepers' hives and teach them all about the importance of bees, their survival and their role in research. Keep a small basin of fresh water outside for any little bee that may be passing by. Buy local organic fruit and vegetables, supporting your local farmers. Help protect bee swarms and understand that bees aren't out to get you, they are just going about their business. And finally, encourage local authorities to use bee-friendly plants in public places and let your local MP know that you are concerned about the welfare of the bees.